please start by telling us more about yourself outside of the legislature so we can get to know you a little bit better.
So outside the legislature, I serve as a prosecutor for Ramsey County of gender violence has been my particular area of specialty. Domestic violence, sexual exploitation, sex trafficking. And that's the work that I do outside the legislature. And then I live in St. Paul, of course, represent a district in St. Paul, and I've got a couple kids.
And tell us more about 64B. St. Paul, you say, but what areas, what communities and neighborhoods, and how would you describe them?
Yeah, so it's the southwest part of St. Paul, District 64B, so the Highland Park area, a little bit of McAllister Groveland, and then West 7th, Fort Road area as well. There was a change in 2022 to include a bit of a shift and include more of the community of West 7th, Fort Road. And it's the southwest part of the city, so the river runs around the west and south and east part of my district. And folks would be familiar with St. Kate's as being an institution in the district, St. Thomas and McAllister just outside the district. And it's an area that has a lot of great restaurants and shopping. There's folks are familiar, I think, with, they tend to come across the river from Minneapolis to shop in Highland Village, and then kind of up and down West 7th as well.
And what are some of the issues that are important to your constituents?
Well, I feel really lucky because I have a constituency that generally, I think, is pretty supportive of issues that will help the whole state to get better and allow people to thrive throughout the state. I feel like there are somewhat fewer local issues that people are really so focused on. They want, like other people in the state, to make sure that their kids get off to a great start, that there's affordable housing and health care, and that people have the resources and tools they need to live good lives. I'm the chair of the St. Paul delegation, and so I and my constituents, I think, want to make sure that our city is doing well as well, and we feel like that when the capital city of Minnesota is doing well, it means the whole state is doing well too.
And you chair the House Children and Families Finance and Policy Committee.
I do.
It's no secret, child care and early learning costs are expensive, but we made historic investments last session to address some of that. Can you just recap some of those?
Yeah, so as you said, so childcare and early learning really was in crisis even before the pandemic. Unaffordable for families, inaccessible often, and paying poverty wages to the people who do the work. And so last session we did make really big strides to address a number of those issues, aimed in particular at the lowest income families, making sure that they have the care and learning that their kids need. When that happens, those parents are able to work and contribute to the workforce, et cetera. And then also trying to lift up the people doing the work. So we put past these Great Start compensation supports, increasing wages by a bit anyway, so that folks have a little more of what they need so they can get closer to a living wage as well. And so lots of different investments and different programs in those areas, but those are sort of the main goals.
Yeah, and in mid-November, the committee heard testimonies from some folks that are still struggling with child care affordability. Is there anything the committee is looking at in 2024?
Yeah, so that hearing that you're referencing was one where we did hear from families all throughout the state saying that they're really struggling with the costs of child care and early learning. Still unaffordable for a lot of families. And so I am really hopeful that this coming session we're going to do more to reduce costs for families. We did hear this idea at that hearing from a House colleague, Representative Katiza Watoon and Senator Housechild, to try to provide income-based supports for families. The federal government says that families shouldn't pay more than 7% of their income on child care and early learning. And so this would be a proposal that would get more families to be closer to that 7% goal. And yeah, so I'm excited to try to pursue that.
And sticking with the theme of younger Minnesotans, you chair the Legislative Task Force on Child Protection as well. Can you describe the group, and is there any plans for task force recommendations to be put forth in 2024?
Yeah, so we have actually a meeting coming up on Monday of the task force. That was a group that had existed in past years, and then I worked with a Republican senator, to revive that group in 2021 out of a concern that child welfare, child protection is a really important area. It's one that is kind of under-resourced and understudied in general. Folks don't tend to pay as much attention to it. It's so important. So it's important to me that we have a group of legislators that would periodically take a look at that. We'll have to see exactly what recommendations we come out with. Again, we're having a meeting just on Monday. There's a lot of discussion about child protection out there, which is great because it's such an important issue. So we'll have to kind of see what comes out.
And you also serve on the Public Safety Committee. A lot of changes were passed in 2023. Is there anything you hope that would become law in 2024?
Yeah, so still looking at a number of possibilities there. So again, I work outside the legislature as a prosecutor, so I see a lot of needs there. I was the longtime author of the bill for criminal background checks on gun sales and extreme risk protection orders. Those are being implemented, which is terrific. But I'm still exploring and working with the chair of that committee and members to kind of see exactly what we want to pursue in 24. I know that there's a lot more that we need to do to make sure that all Minnesotans can be safe in their communities and can be treated with dignity. And but yeah, not ready to reveal any particular proposals quite yet.
Okay, well, finally, what needs to be done, do you think, in 2024 for it to be considered a successful session?
Yeah, I think we made these terrific investments last spring to help ensure that Minnesotans can thrive. And so one of the things we need to do is make sure those investments are implemented well and that we're providing the support and the oversight necessary for that. That'll be one piece. But then the other piece is to identify where there were still remaining gaps. And then to work to address those gaps in this coming session. And for me, that's going to be a particular theme. We know historically in our state that when we've invested in Minnesotans, when we've given people the resources and tools they need to thrive, they benefit, of course, and the rest of us benefit too. Our state historically has had one of the strongest economies in the country and some of the healthiest residents in the country as well. That's been the Minnesota way, and for me, the 2024 session will be a success if and as we continue to follow that Minnesota way and for the benefit of all of us in the long run.
Representative Pinto, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.